what makes you think you are more? To really show a good time. She wants your time, but there's more. If there's an emptiness inside, then you feel it, but I wonder if you try to do too much.
Hey everybody, welcome aboard. Psychedelic here. Got you another Acid Archive entry today, number 32. And hopefully I can keep this one pretty short and concise. I think we're just going to kind of land right where we started, going back around to the number one entry. And by that I mean we're kind of going back to the sort of local stuff. Me being in Nebraska, I don't think there's a ton of Acid Archive related stuff from Nebraska. I can think of maybe 4 at most within the book. Although I wouldn't really consider this a Acid Archive essential, it still finds its way there. And I think a lot of it has to do with sort of the primitive side of things, where it is a true private press. It wasn't released by any big major company, but and kind of the starkness of it, when you look at it, it kind of does look interesting. But when you listen to it, it's very pristine, very cleaned up, which is all good and dandy, but oftentimes when we're talking Acid Archive private press records, we're talking more psychedelic in nature. This one, I can't really find too much that's very much psych-adjacent, unless you consider, more of the synthesizer sounds that kind of creep their way through eventually. But although it is a pretty decent record, I haven't even shown it yet, but we'll talk about it here. So this is Lyonhill. This came out in 1977, and they did have a follow-up, I think like 6 years later, in 82, 83. I used to have it. It's not very memorable. I think there's a song on there called Reaganomics, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, just looking at the whole presentation, doesn't give you a whole lot of indicators what it could be about, maybe. There's like some pool cues. Maybe they're kind of like a bar band. And I think they were. So Lyonhill, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about their backstory, to be honest. Even for being local, I haven't really scoured very much on the internet to find out much, except for what people have left in comment sections and videos and different blog sites I checked out. But apparently they used to play at a couple different lounges, like across the river into Council Bluffs, Iowa. And some of their stuff in their own hometown of Omaha is where they formed. And I had been following Daryl Klein, who's pretty active on Facebook. Been following him for a while. But I think one of the members, I think it's this fella here, the lead guitar player. I think it's Gary Hill. I'm pretty sure that's Gary there. He passed away, I think, a couple years ago or so, maybe. Fairly recently. But yeah, Jeremy Lyon, Gary Hill, that's how they got their band name, the combination of their surnames. And so, stylistically, what do we got here? So it's primarily, I guess you could call this folk rock, but it's also got some very rural bending, kind of progressive, slanted pop writing going on here. Sort of reminds me a little bit of like Renaissance, maybe. And I say that just because of like how cleaned up everything sounds, and sounds like they're very much trying to channel in those kind of, complex arrangements a little bit, but also try to be a little down to earth, with sort of a mainstream appeal, you could say. And that's kind of what Renaissance sounds like to me. I don't mind some of their work, but it almost kind of ventures into that kind of pretentious prog sound, which I don't care for much. But thankfully, this one does sound a little more grounded in spots. But like I say, they did polish this one up pretty well too. It definitely has that kind of late 70s merging into that soft rock kind of production. The way the drums are mic'd up and everything, it's all sounding very tight, but is it psychedelic in nature? Not really at all. I don't think these guys were dabbling into that too much, except for maybe cocaine. And I say that because there's an intermission here where it's kind of a funny little bit they do. And I actually have featured that in some DJ sets of mine. I have a whole playlist of like just intermission, interluding minute to 2 minute long cuts, and I featured that sometimes and gotten some funny responses.
Intermission. We're gonna take a break, take a leave of your brain, but we'll be back after tootin' cocaine.
No big standouts on here for me. Smugglers, I think, might be one of the bigger tracks on here, the opening track, as well as Haven't Seen Your Eyes. It kind of sticks with you after a while. But I think side 2 gets a little more adventurous. Like I say, they pull out the synthesizer. They do some things with the violin as well. I don't know, maybe Curved Air, if they went a little more mainstream. I don't know. I'm trying to kind of cherry pick some bands that might sound like them, or be like a little more of a low-key offshoot of what Lyonhill's presenting here. This is a signed copy as well. Got all their autographs on the front. I used to have another copy in the shrink, and I think locally you can still pick this up for like 10-15 bucks. That's what I paid for it. I think it was like 10 bucks like 8 or so years ago when I found this. Didn't know what it would sound like, but I was like, I do have a lot of appreciation for stuff that's come out locally. I just like the idea of like locally pressed records, and just kind of gives you a sense of like what was going on at the time in Nebraska. And this one definitely has that kind of, like I keep saying, down to earth kind of homespun, kind of sleepy town kind of vibe to it. But it definitely sounds like they were a little more lively when they were a live act, playing at different lounges and bars in the area. I don't know where they all toured. It sounds like they kind of just stuck close to home. But yeah. It says it's got keyboard, synthesizer. It was recorded at Sound Recorder Studio in Omaha. Get a little closer shot here. You can read it there. Yeah, like I said, their second record, I don't remember what it sounds like. I think it's in a similar vein. I guess I used to think it used to be like only 2 members. I thought it was like a sort of folk duo, or maybe there was like a lineup change. Can't really say, but yeah, I guess for the track to check out, Smugglers. I want to say Lady Who Knows. I think side 2, like I say, gets a little more adventurous and a little more in my kind of neck of the woods, what I'm trying to seek out. But I think over the years, my love for this one's kind of diminished a little bit. I think it just kind of sounds a little, like I say, too crisp and too clean, a little too pristine for my taste. But like I say, I still like to pick up on local stuff and pick up on some Nebraska music history here. So get a shot of the label here, and then I think we'll see what the Acid Archive says. I am a little surprised to see it in there, but I think this is also one of Paul Major's discoveries back in the day, which totally makes sense. Yep, Jeremy Lyon and Gary Hill. I think they were the leaders behind this. They also had a female vocalist in the mix as well. She's got a very good voice too. I will say that. She's got a very strong, kind of dominant, sort of angelic vibrato going on. Here we go. Number 32. And I got it bookmarked here. Okay, Lyonhill, Nebraska. 1977. It says no label. It gets the 1 rarity. And this is from Aaron Malinsky. Excellent mainstream rock / folk rock private press album that sounds Southern California, though they're from Nebraska. The album starts with a great moody folk rocker with some hot violin, and goes on to show a surprising amount of diversity. There are shimmering acoustic guitars and absolutely spot-on harmonies, which I can get behind. This is the rare band where the male and female singers sound perfect together. Highlights include a bluegrass song with honky-tonk piano that would make the Dillards proud, and some tasteful and effective synthesizer. The songs are basically short and tight. One song where the female singer takes on the personality of a man is awkward, and a dumb cocaine joke is a glaring reminder that the album is from the mid-70s. But otherwise, this is a terrific record by a multifaceted band. So I can get behind most of that. Yeah, there is quite a bit of piano on here too, which piano and psych, it can work in some spots, but like I say, I don't even consider this really a psych record, and who knows? I'm just basically submitting this one out there because I spotted it in the book, and you know, for the right listener, maybe someone will dig this one and find that it has some secret treasures within. I mean, certainly not going to be for everyone here on my channel, I don't think. You know, that have their mind kind of set on UK pop psych or anything like that, because it's really not coming in that direction at all. So I just wanted to showcase this one and kind of spread the word about this and make it known. Probably the only person that's ever spotlighted this on YouTube anyways, so it's kind of nice to get the word out, and that's basically this whole thread. That's what it's all about, man. Discoveries. So thank you again for watching. I don't know, I guess I only got 2 new records in since we last did an update. Gearson, they are coming out with some hot titles this month. I did actually pre-order one because this is one that I've been trying to track down for ages, and it was definitely deserving of a reprint. We will get to that when the moment comes. So I guess I do have one coming in the mail as well. That's some cheap heat we'll talk about too. So yeah, check out Lyonhill. I think there is a full album upload. And I think that's about it for today. So I'm going to keep it kind of short, and we shall see you soon.